Let me start that recording now. Okay, so welcome to the YouTube Advertising Trends Workshop brought to you. My name is James Cameron. I'm one of the founders of Masterclassing, and delighted that we have a fabulous keynote workshop leader, Matt Duffy, who's a CMO from Pixability. Matt's going to talk us through 5 different YouTube advertising trends that every brand and agency should watch in 2023. So without further ado, Matt, the floor is yours. I'll stop my share and you can share your screen.
Thanks so much, James. I was trying to figure out what that seal meant, whether you said it was a Zen seal. I don't know if it's Zen or if it's spinning, because people are like, their heads are spinning today. But
I took it as people being very relaxed. And,
relaxed
in
is
the
good.
moment.
Relaxed is good. So yeah, we're gonna talk through some of the trends we're seeing at Pixability here. And as James mentioned, my colleague Ashley is on the line as well. She's joining from Texas. She's managed many big brand accounts running campaigns on YouTube. So she's going to be a great person after we finish, when we have sort of a Q&A and we all talk together. She'll be able to answer a lot of questions, hopefully in addition to any I can answer. So let's get started. So just a quick introduction to Pixability for those of you that don't know us. This is kind of a boring slide, but it's an easy way to explain what we do. Basically, we're a third-party software, tech, and data company, and brands and agencies work with us to help them with their YouTube and CTV campaigns. And there's 2 ways you can work with us. Either you can manage a campaign yourself and we can provide you with brand suitable inventory, or we can manage a campaign for you or your clients. And so these are the 2 different ways you can work with us. In either case, brand suitability is a big piece of what we do, but we also help drive performance, insights, and deeper reporting. And sort of the way we approach things is, we're one of a handful of companies that's certified by Google to do brand suitability on YouTube. We're the only one that's also certified for insights. So you'll see a lot of those insights today in what we talk about. The second thing is just we've built a platform that helps optimize bids and performance on YouTube. We can use the native platforms, but we also have this platform that enhances performance that we found is helpful in especially more complex campaigns for big brands. And then the third thing, and this is very relevant for today's discussion, is we're very focused on this intersection of YouTube and CTV. We're going to talk a lot about that today and what we're seeing there. And here's some of just a handful of the lovely brands and agencies that we work with. So let's get started. So we're going to talk about 5 big trends that we are seeing here that I would want any agency or brand to kind of understand as you're approaching YouTube in 2023 and into 2024. So the first one is, again, that YouTube has really become a CTV platform. So thinking about the landscape right now, we've all seen the decrease in TV viewership over the years. The first quarter of the pandemic back in 2020, we saw the biggest drop in cable subscriptions ever in the US, and that continues. So we did this survey last year. This was actually last year, where we asked people sort of their future plans with their cable subscriptions. And what we saw is that 75% of US consumers basically said within the next couple of years, we won't be subscribing. So, if there are, I don't know, something like 20 of us on the line right now, only, 4 or 5 of us will even have a subscription in a few years. And probably none of us actually, because most of the people that we surveyed that would hold on to a cable subscription were older folks. And so as an agency or a brand or an ad tech company like us, we're all in this together trying to find the audiences and engage them, right? And TV is becoming a harder place to do that. And so we're all turning to CTV as a way to do that. The only other stat from this survey that was interesting is that of the people that still had cable, half of them were planning to get rid of it within a year. So it's accelerating, basically, was the message we got from this study. And so this nice GIF, hopefully it's working well for you guys, just came out from Nielsen. It basically shows, if you're looking at where you want to find reach on CTV, YouTube is actually the #1 place to find reach on CTV. This chart shows which platforms represent the biggest reach on YouTube. on CTV. And you can see that YouTube overtook Netflix back in July, basically a year ago, back in July 2022. And since then it's been above Netflix. And that Netflix number is including their paid subscribers too. It's not just their ad eligible part of their platform. So YouTube as a ad supported platform is the best way to reach CTV viewers right now. In fact, this other stat is kind of more startling. This is another stat from Nielsen. It basically represents more than half of ad supported streaming watch time on connected TVs for adults, for 18 plus folks. And so what does this mean? I think it's very interesting, and I'm looking forward to talking to you all after this chat, but it's very interesting how advertisers are approaching YouTube, because there are agencies that have a group that does just YouTube advertising and a separate group that does CTV advertising. And so sometimes the CTV groups don't include YouTube in their CTV advertising because the YouTube group is doing that and they don't want to step on each other's toes, which makes total sense. Other times these groups are coming together and people are running CTV campaigns that have both. When we work with folks, we recommend a couple different approaches to think about. One approach, and this is an approach that we work with Kind, and they do campaigns, some campaigns that are CTV only, and then they do some campaigns that are YouTube across all the different devices on YouTube. This example is about going across all the different devices. So even if you don't want to think of YouTube as a CTV platform, you have to understand that a lot of the views you're going to get on a normal YouTube campaign now are going to be on TV screens. In fact, it can be as much as 50% of the views sometimes. So if you're not thinking about how audiences react to TV screens differently from mobile and desktop and tablet screens, then you might be missing an opportunity for some more engagement. One of the things we do with Kind and others is some good ad sequencing things you can do, where you serve an ad on a TV screen and then you retarget people, whether they're watching on a mobile device or another device. You can, in this case, we retargeted them with bumpers, and then we actually retargeted them with other ads as a way to do a sequence of ads to drive, deeper views, deeper engagement, brand lift, even revenue. And so even if you don't think of YouTube as a CTV player, you should be thinking about great ways you can gear your YouTube campaign to TV screens versus non-TV screens. Sequencing is just one thing you can do. You can also target different kinds of ads to TV screens than you do to different devices, et cetera. It's a way to find engagement that if you're not thinking about it, you're missing the boat, basically. And then the other thing you can do, and we do this for a lot of advertisers, is you can think of YouTube as just another CTV player. I think where this can go wrong is if you're running a bunch of CTV campaigns in silos separate from your YouTube campaigns, you might be either getting too much duplication or not enough. And so, one of the things we do and you can do on your own, and we can help you with this, is to manage a unified campaign where you can take a look at the incremental reach you could be getting by, deduplicating between your CTV platforms and your YouTube CTV. So this is, again, something that we work with some advertisers on, where they might be seeing really, really high frequency on their CTV platforms. We've all seen it, right? Where you've seen the 6 ads in a row on a certain CTV show. This helps prevent that, so that you don't see 5 ads when you're watching Hulu, and then you go over to YouTube and you watch that same 5 ad again, 5 versions of that ad again. And so this is just to close out the CTV section. We could talk for a whole 20 minutes on this. This is a nice quote that a friend of ours from Group M, Mike Fisher, who's a brilliant guy. He's a really good person to talk to on sort of the intersection of YouTube and CTV. He likes to say, listen, 10 years ago or more, we used to all watch SNL, Saturday Night Live, on linear TV. 8 years ago, people started using their DVRs, so they didn't have to stay up late on a Saturday night. They would watch it on their DVR the next day, right? 4 years ago, it was on the streaming services. You could watch it on Hulu, you could watch the whole thing. He said, now people are just watching it when it's convenient for them, and they're usually just watching clips. That's really what I do now. I don't, as cool as I'd like to think I am, I'm asleep by the time Saturday Night Live is on Saturday nights. And so I just watched clips the next day and into the next few weeks. And so this is the big shift that we're all seeing. I think we all understand this, but I thought this was a cool way to capture it. And so basically watching SNL clips on YouTube is basically like someone watching a TV show, and we should think of it that way, is Mike's ultimate point. And we want to reach those people watching TV screens. All right, so second big trend that we're seeing is the creator revolution is truly here, and creator content is really the new show. You ask yourselves like, well, I want to advertise on a show. That's sort of an old concept. Shows now can be just a 15-minute or even a 5-minute YouTube creator talking about something. One example we give is food creators on YouTube. This is just a sampling of some. Most of us know Gordon Ramsay. Some of these others you may or may not know. Ashley's probably sick of me using this example, but Mangchi is one of my favorite creators on YouTube. Hopefully everyone here has their own favorites. Great Korean recipes that my daughter and I like to try to make. She has a great kimchi recipe video that I think has like 4.5 million views or something crazy like that. But Mangchi, who if she had her own TV show, advertisers would be flocking to her to try to advertise on her show. I don't watch any TV cooking shows. I watch multiple videos of hers, in a given couple months span. So the point being that we're seeing more and more brands and agencies think of these things as shows, but also stop worrying about what their definition of premium content is, because ultimately it's what the definition is of the audience you're trying to reach. So if Mangchi has, 5.5 million subscribers, the audience has spoken, right? That's where they're finding engagement. That's sort of their personal prime time. Always have to use an example like Mr. Beast. I'm sure most of you know Mr. Beast. He has, I had to check this morning, he has 170 million subscribers now, whereas all of Max, previously HBO Max, has something like 76 million. I think they actually have less because they haven't moved all of the people over from HBO Max to Max. I think they've moved over like 3/4 of them so far. So again, just to redefine our perception of YouTube, the scale that's on YouTube is dwarfing what a lot of these streaming services have. The funky chart on the left with the red and yellow bars, those are some videos from Mr. Beast and how they compare to the top viewing Netflix seasons. So you can see that it's there, right? The engagement that we're all looking for is on YouTube. Here's some things to consider though when you're thinking about creators on YouTube. First off, it's gotten to the point where there are over 35,000 creators with 1 million+ subscribers on YouTube. So there are lots and lots of creators with plenty of content for what we're looking for. On the flip side, Google has just done something that's very interesting, where they've lowered the bar on who can monetize their channel. It used to be that you had to have 1,000+ subscribers to monetize your channel on Google, which even that is not a lot, but they've now lowered it to 500. Google is really, we're very close to the folks at Google. They're really trying to please their creators. They're in a battle with TikTok. TikTok is a place that a lot of creators, make money, and Google is trying to woo more creators over who are doing short videos, and we'll talk about shorts later. And so they've lowered the bar so that more creators can make money, basically. But for advertisers, it just means there's a lot more of a long tail out there. There's a lot more of these onesie twosie channels. I mean, I think I could probably start a YouTube channel tomorrow and get 500 friends to subscribe to it. But would that be where your brand would want to be? Maybe, maybe not, right? The third thing to think about is that topic-specific creators are not the only ways for brands to win. So we just showed a list of food and beverage creators. If you're a food and beverage brand, we actually tell you not to only advertise on food and beverage content. In fact, food and beverage content was close to last in terms of driving views for food and beverage brands this first half of the year. We have a lot of data on which content areas are driving success for advertisers. So Don't look at that food and beverage list if you're a food and beverage brand and think we should focus on that only. And then the last big thing is many big creators are not brand suitable. I like to use PewDiePie as an example. PewDiePie is not demonetized. He can still run ads on YouTube. He's said some very controversial things that most brands don't want to be around. Some brands are fine being around. The moral of the story is YouTube is not going to prevent semi-controversial people like PewDiePie from monetizing things. It's up to us and third parties to do that. YouTube wants to please their creators, so they're not going to demonetize unless it's very extreme. So that gets us to the next topic, brand suitability. It's still an issue. So the easiest way to think of it is about 99.9% of impressions on YouTube are safe. YouTube has done a good job getting rid of the really, really scary stuff and demonetize channels that are just not safe, terrorism content, really extreme views, etc. The problem is that a lot of content is not suitable for given advertisers. And I'll give you some examples. One example is made for kids content, which might be okay for some advertisers, but we work with a lot of brands that are trying to target adults only, especially alcohol brands, pharmaceutical brands, etc. And the way that YouTube handles made for kids content is very interesting. So they leave it up to the creator themselves to say whether their video is made for kids or not. And so you can see these little boxes under the video. When you upload a video as a creator, you have to say, yes, this is made for kids, or no, it isn't. You can see that the video on the left, PewDiePie, the creator, did the right thing and said, yes, this is made for kids. The Ben 10 video on the right, the creator said, no, this is not made for kids. Well, what we're finding is that like roughly half of the videos that are made for kids are not called made for kids by the creator themselves. Why is that? Because they can make more money by saying it's not made for kids, because they know a lot of advertisers don't want made for kids content. So we have an algorithm to help this, but basically any advertisers out there that think of Ben 10 videos as a wasted impression, basically, then you need to work with a partner like us that can help you avoid made for kids. But you should also know to avoid made for kids for the people that do tag it correctly, because that's a pretty easy thing to do. And then finally, on the brand suitability thing, there's an organization, if you're not familiar with, called GARM, Global Alliance for Responsible Media. Great organization that we're members of. They've basically established standards on brand suitability that talk about the dirty dozen, the 12 topics on any platform, not just YouTube, that are risky. And it's, sexual content, profanity, military conflict, etc. And then they talk about the different levels of suitability. So just because it's about military conflict doesn't mean it's not safe. It might be safe, but just different levels of suitability. And this is just an example. So floor is basically unsafe content. And a good example of this in terms of military conflict is if there's a video that's showing actual people being killed. That's just unsafe for anyone, right? Whereas if there's military footage that shows some things that are scary, but maybe not as violent as the floor content, then that might be high risk. Medium risk would be maybe a scene from Private Ryan that is violent, but it's a movie, so it's a dramatization of violence. And then low risk is sort of more of a documentary or a news clip about a military action. So it's very important for advertisers to know where they fall on this scale for each of the dirty dozen categories. And this is where we can help, make sure you avoid the floor for sure, but avoid high risk. And maybe you're only fine with low risk, or maybe you're fine with low and medium. All right, so that's the first three. The fourth thing is YouTube Shorts are really making a run at TikTok. What are YouTube Shorts? I think most of you probably know, but they're just 60 seconds or less vertical videos. Now you can see these all throughout YouTube now. They've done a really good job of integrating these shorts into YouTube. You can find a little tab on the bottom left-hand corner when you're on your phone to click on shorts and watch shorts. But you can also see it on channels. When you do search results, they're basically everywhere. I will admit that I was skeptical that YouTube could create something that was engaging and competitive with TikTok in the vertical space. but they've done it, and the engagement has been huge. The launch was back in March 2021. Months later, they did a worldwide launch. First, it was US, then worldwide. About a year after launch, they had already garnered 50 billion views, and about a year ago, about a billion and a half people using Shorts, which is about 3/4 of YouTube users that use Shorts. There aren't any more recent numbers, so I got to assume it's around the same or more, presumably more. The long story short is it's basically neck and neck with TikTok now. This is just a fun stat that we pulled, that our insights team pulled, that shows people are actually going to Google or going to YouTube a lot now and searching for YouTube Shorts on YouTube, which is funny to me because they're very easy to find. But this is just a sign of the times of how popular Shorts have become. Vertical ad units are also super popular right now for advertisers and working really well. So Ashley can tell you, she has a lot of clients she's worked with that have had a lot of success with these. But a vertical ad unit can run on a short, but it can also run on a horizontal piece of content. So you're watching a horizontal piece of content on YouTube. You sometimes get an ad, suddenly there's a vertical ad. It actually grabs your attention. And what we saw last year is, especially for food and beverage brands, they saw double the clicks on vertical ads than they saw on horizontal ads, on horizontal content. So regardless of whether you're running on Shorts or not, it's a really good thing to try. In terms of what you should do as an agency or a brand, this is what we recommend. First of all, you should be creating some Shorts content. You might be an agency that doesn't have the ability to do that for your clients, but if you're a brand or someone that is doing that, you should create vertical content that should go on your channel, whether it's going to be an ad or just content. This is something that Kettle and Fire did. They're a client of ours that they did as an ad. For sure, you should have vertical content on the brand's channel. The second thing is, right now, there's no direct way to put an ad on Shorts to say, hey, I'm Kettle and Fire, I want to run this ads on Shorts only. You can't do that yet as just a member of the public trying to advertise on YouTube. There is an alpha where you can do that right now, and we have access to it, that we're working with certain brands that can do it. That's the only way to do it right now. Soon, Google will let you target ads to Shorts. That said, there are a few ad formats that will end up on Shorts. You just can't make sure that they only end up on Shorts. You can say, send this ad to this ad format, and some of the impressions will be on Shorts. And then the last sort of takeaway we have for this is what I just mentioned. Use vertical ad units because they will most likely run on some Shorts if you're using the right ad formats. Also, they work well on horizontal, like I said. So either way, you should be creating vertical ad units. All right, fifth and final topic. And after this, we'll open it up to questions and hopefully have a good discussion. So this is, again, more on the organic side, less on the advertising side. But brands do not do a good job with their YouTube channels. If you look at most brands' YouTube channels, they're kind of just a storage place for their videos, but they're not organized well. This is something that, whether you're a brand marketer or an agency, if you're an agency, this is something that you can suggest to your clients, and we can help you suggest to your clients as something that they should improve, because it does affect how your paid advertising works too. Why does this matter? Well, YouTube is the second biggest search engine worldwide. So almost every big brand has some kind of Google search strategy. Well, they should have a YouTube search strategy as well, right? And why should they have a search strategy? Well, not only is it big, but people are going to YouTube as part of the purchase process. When I moved back in December, and I was looking for new couches, and I wanted to figure out which brands I should even narrow it down to, I went to YouTube and looked at a bunch of creators talking about the top brands, right? And then the other thing that I just mentioned is having good content on a YouTube channel and having a good paid ad strategy can really feed off each other and work together to provide good results for the advertiser. We've seen this for a lot of clients we've worked with, Puma and Bose and many others, where we've managed their channel and helped them with their advertising, and the two things work really well together. And so what's wrong with channels? a lot of times, one thing that can be wrong is sometimes a brand isn't even number one when you search for that brand in YouTube. This is usually for bigger brands like McDonald's, where if you search for McDonald's, you're going to get a bunch of other videos before you even see the McDonald's channel. Why? Because you've got creators mostly saying negative things about McDonald's. So one of the things you can do is if you optimize your channel in a good way, you can actually rise above the creators by having a really optimized channel. McDonald's has not done a good job of doing that. The second thing is channel SEO can be really poor, which is similar to what I was just saying, but just in terms of how you tag the content, the number of words you use, how you arrange the content. Then there's a lot of things you can do with the video engagement on channels that people just aren't doing. Lots of best practices. And again, we can help people with this, but also this is something that a lot of brands can do on their own if they have good marketing groups. So these are the 5 big things. Again, we think every CTV campaign should have some component of YouTube, or you're basically missing half the CTV audience, right? If not, you should be thinking of your YouTube campaigns that run across all devices and thinking about how to leverage the TV screen as one of the devices. Second, creator content is really the new show. As our friend Mike Fisher from Group M said, if someone's watching an SNL clip on YouTube, that's just as good as if they're watching the actual show SNL. Third, brand suitability. There's still some brand suitability gotchas out there. Made for kids content is just one. It could be any of those dirty dozen topics that I also talked about. Another thing is it's really hard to control whether you're running on English only content. So some brands want to run on different languages, but some don't. And that's hard to control unless you have the right controls. So that's another way it can be unsuitable for you. And then fourth, Shorts is coming on strong. Soon they'll be coming out with a way to advertise directly on Shorts. That's public right now. It's in alpha, like I said. And fifth, don't ignore the YouTube channel. If you're an agency, even just be an advisor to your brand that they should improve that. And that is it. Look forward to, oh, and again, James will provide this deck for you all, I believe, but feel free to email me directly. We're happy to answer any questions for you directly if we don't answer any today. I'm just at mduffy@pixability.com.
Amazing. Thank you, Matt. That was an awesome presentation. Let me stop the recording and we